Howdy doody everyone, it's me, Billy. Welcome back to another episode of... I completely forgot the game I was playing. Our Home? It's Our Home. I think it's Our Home. Oh god, I forgot the name of the thing. Oh god. Well anyway, welcome back. It's been 2 weeks, roughly about 2 weeks since I played this game, started playing this game, and I said I would continue playing it, so I'm gonna continue playing it until I don't want to play it, so... yeah, that's the whole idea about this one. So where we left off is we met a new guy. We there's a new kid in town and their father wants us to get together and be friends with him, I guess. So we had a dinner thing and we got to hang out. My sister got to hang out, and we're gonna spend the summer as kids together. So we'll see how it goes, I guess. Alright, so we can't do any of these, although I think the ghosts and the runaway seem very interesting, and the sleepover too. But we gotta choose one of these because I don't feel like spending extra money on DLC content, because that would just mean DLC extra content. So which one do I want to choose? Do I want to pick the you know, I'm more likely going to pick all of them. Well, I did not mean to do that. Well, I guess we'll go with that. So, whatever I just picked, we're going with that. It was another... by the way, it's been 2 weeks since I do this, so apologies if my voices aren't exactly accurate, as per usual when I don't do these for a long time. So, yay! It was another scorching summer day, the kind where no sooner had you finished 1 cup of water, you were already filling it up again. Everyone else had something on, so that afternoon, it was just you and Shiloh. This didn't happen much, especially since Cove had since Cove had arrived. That was weird. Had arrived. Without Lizzie around, Shiloh looked to you for all the answers. It made you feel... pleased? Frustrated? Nothing really. Nothing really. Shiloh went along with whatever you wanted, so he wasn't a bother, but he also wasn't that much fun. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was very... what a wide vocabulary for a young kid like me. What's my name? What is my name again? I forgot my name. Oh my god, it's... Bless Squirtle? I forget my first name. I'm sure I'll remember it. Can I see my first name? Homery Bless Squirtle. That's my name. That's right. Alright, exit out of there. Okay, you drained the but you crave something icy cold and refreshing. Something sweet. Something like a popsicle, an ice cream cone, an ice cream sandwich. Let's go with ice cream sandwich. You craved soft ice cream sandwich between two cookies. There was nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look. Your moms didn't keep us. I cannot speak, apparently, because I'm thinking about those sweets in the house. Oh shit. Sorry about that, folks. Outside, there were plenty of places where such goodies could be attained, but they were shops and demanded payment in exchange for their products. Your voice predicament, huh? I'm gonna sigh. As much as you really wanted that treat, it wasn't going to happen. What's wrong? I want an ice cream sandwich! Shiloh, who had been draped over the sofa, perked up. That sounds good. You have a lot of freckles, more than I imagined, more than I remembered. We don't have any here, and I don't have any money. Is that freckles, or is that just dirt? I want to say it's freckles. Yes, I believe that's freckles. That is an interesting hat, by the way. Oh, let me check if I have any. Shiloh rummaged in his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coins plus 1 stray button. You set the button aside and counted the coins in neat piles. Just over $1. Dollar? What the hell? Did I just read dollar with Shiloh and just called it Dollo? Oh my god. You announced this to Shiloh. He had almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but he'd been watching you expectantly. It's a start. Shiloh beamed at you. We'll need to find some more. Okay. Who said that? Hold on. Okay. We need to find some more. Okay. God. I am out of it. I need a drink. I need a thirst of a drink. But I don't have one near me at the moment. Oh well, the two of you lifted couch cushions, stuck tiny hands down deep crevices in the sofa and under furniture, and scoured the back of drawers. Badoop. Most of what you found was useless or gross. Bent paper clips, fluffy wisps of dust or sandy crumbs, but every so often one of you would strike silver or bronze and add it to the growing pile of coins. The growling pile of coins. Dusty and disheveled from checking every room and squinting into every tiny nook, the two of you finished pulling your finds. Shiloh held his breath as you counted the coins once again. $2.53. And 2 buttons. You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out. Is that enough? You figured he knew the answer without looking to you for confirmation, but the thrill of your success and the reward that would follow canceled out any other feelings you might have had about that. Yeah! You could now afford something at the shops. Just one thing, but that was infinitely better than none. Shiloh clapped his hands. Yeah! Yay! The two of you dashed outside. The promise of sugar buoyed you onto your destination where, breathless but happy, you stared at the overwhelming number of options. You know what you wanted, but it wasn't just you who had contributed the funds to get the treat. He seemed to notice your pause. Aren't you getting an ice cream sandwich? Shiloh asked as though he was entirely separate from the decision, rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. Do you mind? Shiloh cocked his head to the side. It was your idea. You should choose. Should I be greedy? Should I be greedy or something? You try to get something you both wanted anyway. Are you sure? Are you really sure it's okay? Are you really sure it's okay? Like, yeah. Really? Yeah. Pleased, you bought the dessert you longed for. Sweet success! Finally, the reward for all your hard work was in your hands. You bit the ice cream sandwich. The chewy chocolate biscuit complemented the creamy vanilla ice cream inside. You held it out to Shiloh so he could take a turn. He shook his head. You can finish it. He didn't want any? After everything he did to help get it? That was weird. You accepted the offer. You tried to conclude Shiloh. You hesitated. Should I hesitate? Should I try to include? I'm gonna hesitate. It's okay, Homery. You want it more than I do, and I'm really happy that we got to play today already. You'll finish it. Well, it wasn't worth arguing over further. The frozen treat was being worn away by the sun and started to trickle dangerously towards your fingers. If you waited much longer, then neither of you will be getting to eat it. All right, thanks. The two of you begin to head back home as you ate. You offered the treat once more to Shiloh, but he refused again. You walked side by side on the shore in silence, but your thoughts kept drifting to the boy beside you. Why didn't he speak up for himself? It was almost as if Shiloh didn't know how to say what he felt, or was afraid to. Let's see, you figured that was his problem and didn't care. Are you scared of me? You thought that was kind of sad. Are we friends? Are you scared of me? Nah. Are we friends? You thought that was kind of sad. Not being able to talk to people isn't fun. You didn't want to be the kind of person who were scared to tell their honest opinion to. You considered asking Shiloh about it, but if he couldn't give an opinion on something like ice cream, then he wasn't going to open up about this. Excuse me. You hope for the best. Maybe you were wrong, or if you were right, maybe he'd feel better about it soon. Shiloh made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with just him. There had been good times, and there had been confusing ones. You were positive of one thing, at least. The treat was delicious, and that was nice. The sun was low on the horizons as you returned to your neighborhood. There you spotted two very familiar figures up ahead, Lizzie and Cove. You opened your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw the tears on Cove's face. You walked straight over, Shiloh at your heels. Once there you, carefully ask about what happened. What happened? Carefully. What did you guys do? You monsters, you idiots! How could you let this thing happen? Without a time machine, the only way you were going to find out was by asking the witness. Lizzie might have done something, but she could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, or even come to Cove's aid. You wanted to hear the story. Cove, what happened? Oh shit, I forgot his voice. Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, Marie, I got yelled at.
He took a deep, steadying breath.
Some grandparents got mad at me.
Sorry. Lizzie jerked her head in the direction of a nearby house. Your heart sunk. You knew exactly what had happened. Every year, the same mean old couple rented out that condo for the summer. You, Lizzie, and Shiloh knew to stay away from them, but Cove couldn't have. They're like that with everyone. Even your mom struggled to find anything nice to say about them. But the elderly pair, particularly, God, I cannot say that word right. Particularly, took offense to kids. It didn't matter if they were really nice like Cove.
Yeah, Lizzie said.
Lizzie drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction.
I was helping.
That's cool. Is there anything I can do?
No, I'm just going to go away.
Or you could teach them a lesson.
There was a devilish glint in her eyes. Oh, God.
What?
You should ding-dong ditch them. Go ring the doorbell and run. It'll be great because they're so slow. They'll never catch you.
That's dumb. I don't want it to go near them ever again.
You're saying that because you're a cluck-cluck-cluck chicken.
Cove glared, but didn't take the bait. Lizzie turned to you.
You're not chicken, are you?
You'd rather just avoid them. I'd rather avoid them. You looked at the house. Behind those closed doors lurked two beings, rich in years but poor in patience. Maybe they deserve retaliation, maybe they didn't, but that punishment wouldn't be coming from you. It was safer to stay far away from them, especially since Cove took their outburst to heart. I'm now Irish now. I'm not doing it either.
Another chicken for the coop. This is a hen house now.
If we're chickens, you're a lizard, Lizzie.
She wagged her tongue at his face.
Still better than a bird brain. Chicken.
The condo door opened, revealing one of the two culprits. The old man's wizened face was set in a scowl, which was to say he looked exactly like he always did when you saw him. Maybe that was his normal face. What are you kids doing loitering outside of my house? Or maybe he was just always in a terrible mood.
Nothing.
Ah! He repeated the word as if it was the greatest crime anyone could commit. Nothing good, more like. Get lost! Like my old man's voice. It wasn't as if he owned a space outside the house, but Cove's eyes, still red from his earlier tears, were wide, and you thought it would be best to heed the old man's command. Lizzie took off, with Shiloh immediately trailing her after without so much as a glance back in your direction. So much for your friendship. You waved your arm at Cove, summoning him to follow you, and ran after Lizzie. The old man's hollers propelled you all from the streets to the sanctity of the hill. Only once you were safe did you notice the stitch in your chest and the ache of your legs. I had a stitch in my chest? Huh, okay. Wait, no, that's the thing I put down, right? I think that's what I put down? Well, whatever. You flopped down, the blades of grass tickling your face. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was as per usual, always lazing on the ground like she always did. No, already lazing on the ground. The four of you took a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the feeling of cool grass against your skin.
Hey, Cove.
Cove lifted his head.
I told you there were mean grandparents around here.
Cove rolled his eyes and decided this wasn't dismissive enough and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Lizzie chose to ignore his presence and started chatting to Shiloh, who eagerly joined in the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle again to Shiloh once Lizzie came around. It always went like that. And it was fine, you thought. You still felt a little sad after how much time you spent together today anyway, and it was always annoying. That's fine, yeah. Shiloh could prefer Lizzie as much as he wanted to. There were other things to attend to anyway. You wriggled closer to Cove. He had calmed down for the most part, and was expecting a flower. His fingers pinched the stem and tilted the white petals toward him. That's a poppy. P-O-P-P-Y, that's poppy! Cove glanced at you in acknowledgement, then back to the flower. And the type of poppies on this hill had the name White Linen Poppy, Mom told me. He quirked a smile.
Oh, that's funny.
He ran a finger around the edge of the petals.
It doesn't feel like cloth. You'll need a lot of time to make anything.
He nodded and released the delicate plant, evaluation complete.
This is my favorite kind of flower, but I didn't know what it was called. Thanks.
So many options! My favorite peonies, I don't care about my own, I like all flowers. I could type my own answer! I don't really have a favorite flower. I like all flowers, though all flowers are really cool. I like all flowers. It's too hard to pick just one. Sorry, flowers. He chuckled.
You're so nice.
Thanks. You moved onto your back with a small smile and looked at the darkening sky. The blanket of clouds reminded you of a thick throw curled under your on cold, rainy days. You wondered if the clouds would be soft. They lazily floated on by, splitting from each other, merging and morphing into new shapes. I see. I saw a smiley face. You saw cloud shapes. What do I probably would see an alpaca. You saw a fluffy alpaca in the sky. You nudged Cove and pointed to it. Can you see the alpaca? Cove joined you in gazing upwards.
It looks more like a llama.
Hey, he chuckled at your reaction. Totally can see the llama. That looks like a llama. That's a Lizzie! You're not a cloud! All the sun's lights faded from the sky and the moon rose higher. Lizzie got to her feet, dusting strands of grass from her bare legs, and surveyed her surroundings. The ocean, visible from the crest of the hill, beckoned with every sweep of the tide.
Let's go to the beach.
There was no argument from the other two. Shiloh was still Shiloh, and Cove would never say no to going to the shore. He was a child of the sea. You were too tired to argue, were happy to go do whatever the others wanted. Yeah, I would happy. The beach wouldn't necessarily have been where you chose to go next, but if that was where the others wanted to go, then you weren't going to spoil the fun. You stepped onto the sand for the second time that day, but it felt different at night. The beach was nearly quiet at this hour. Abandoned sandcastles and footsteps in the sand, too big to belong to any of you, were the only indication of how busy it had been only hours earlier. My 3 friends, including my sister. The 4 of you kicked shoes off and removed socks and walked along the water's edge. The wave tickled your feet.
I wonder what would happen if you tried to take a bath in the ocean with shampoo and everything.
Oh, that would be bad for the fish.
I didn't say anyone would do it. Jeez, you don't have to be serious about everything.
Shut up. Shut up. You're being mean. You're being a little bratty.
You're the one who asked what would happen. That is what would happen. It hurt the fishes.
I like bubble baths at home. They're a lot of fun.
Me too. Bubble baths are luxurious.
You never heard Lizzie use that word before. She's moving up in the vocabulary world. Must be using a dictionary.
Mommy loves to have bubbles in her bath. She'll turn the lights off and have candles. I'm gonna do that next time. Hey, when's your mom coming to pick you up anyway?
Shiloh, yep. Not for a while. She's busy. Sorry, I keep confusing my voices between the two. Yeah. Oh, my nose. Whew. My nose is getting stuffy.
What about your dad? How come you never talk about him? Nobody does.
Don't you know you're not supposed to ask something like that? Why would somebody want to talk about something they never talk about?
You kept your eyes on the ground, watching your toes get swallowed up by the waves. Even if Shiloh never seemed upset when this topic came up, it made you feel awkward just for having both of your moms.
It's okay. I'm like Lizzie and Homery. I don't have a dad. But I don't have 2 moms. I just have one. She's really great.
Oh, sorry. I only have one now, too. My mom isn't here. She's back home. It's just my dad with me.
Oh, I never had a dad or anything, so I don't feel bad. It's really sad that your mom's gone.
Cove nodded. You joked about Shiloh's mom getting close together with Cove's dad. Even if they're all different, our parents are in good. I feel like I'd be too awkward to say anything, so I'll say this.
Yeah.
Cove couldn't muster a response. You don't think he truly disagreed, though. The silence broke with a splash as Lizzie kicked in your direction. Cold water and sodden sand splattered against your legs. Lizzie giggled, foot still outstretched from the kick. Where'd everyone go? Cove joined in, striking the oncoming waves to make a splash of his own. Shiloh scurried out of Cove's spray zone with a grin. You made a run for it. Yeah, I retaliate. You used your foot to smack the water pulling around you, sending an arc of sea foam flying back onto your sister. You laughed as she spluttered. Sputtered. I read that as sputtered. Some of the salty seawater having landed in her mouth. She spat it out.
Yuck!
Lizzie chased you, intent on revenge. Oh no! You dashed up and down the coast, taking it in turns to be the predator and the prey, as well as joining forces to take down Shiloh or Cove. Alliances were silently forged and wordlessly broken. Everything was fair game in war.
Ah!
Shiloh's brief exclamation was drowned out by the biggest splash yet, caused by him falling face first onto the ground. That would have been bad enough without the waves that followed, cascading over his prone body. Shiloh sat up, shaking his head like a dog coming in from the rain, as you all hurried over to check on him. His hair was plastered into his head, and his soaked clothes clung. Blah, 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 blah. If there was any part of him that was still dry, you couldn't see it.
That was crazy. Are you okay?
Yeah, my foot got stuck and I fell over.
Yeah.
Way to go, Shiloh, you dumbo.
You offered him some help up. Let him, yeah, offered him. Shiloh didn't take your outstretched hand. After a moment, you dropped it. Well, Lizzie was too busy snickering to notice and held her hand out to Shiloh, too. He reached over and took it. Slowly, he started to pull himself from the ground. Then he slipped on the slick sand, dragging him, and Lizzie jumped down just in time for another wave to hit. The water rolled over him.
Sorry.
What were the odds of that happening twice in a row? You thought they must be low, but there's no way Shiloh would do something like that on purpose, then pretend it was an accident, especially not to Lizzie. Even if your relationship with Shiloh felt unclear, he did at least like her a lot. Lizzie was his favorite, right? Smiling boldly, Lizzie extracted herself from the ground and wiped a streak of sand from her cheek. She didn't intend to let this embarrass her. Shiloh got up again as well, this time without incident. He still looked like a drowned puppy, but that didn't stop Cove laughing at the two of them. With that, it was time to call it a day. That's what I meant to say. The four of you made the journey back home, leaving a trail of wet footsteps and sand in your wake. Damp clothes may have weighed down some of the group, but your spirits were high. Your arms swung side to side as a cool breeze flowed past. Your moms were outside, chatting to Cove's dad.
We're back!
Your mom's faces fell as they took in the state you were all in, ranging from messy to soaked. Let's see, which one is mommy and which one's momette?
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth?
That's right, that's my voices.
Elizabeth, is that all you have to say for yourself? You brought half the beach back with you.
They certainly did. What Marigold's going to do when she comes to get Shiloh? Is that how you want him to be for the long drive home? Cold and filthy?
Lizzie's expression turned sulky over the scolding. Being the oldest could be fun, but it also meant she was the first to get in trouble when something went wrong. That's nice. Mr. Holden, on the other hand, chuckled as he ruffled Cove's matted hair. Hair matted.
You've been out making memories, bucko. I'm glad you had a good time with your friends.
Cove used his slightly moist arm to push his dad off. Mr. Holden's eyes widened when he noticed even that had gotten wet. Now he was worried too.
I think they could have found a less risky way to spend time and had just as much fun.
That might be right. Kids, what can you do? Come on, Cove, let's get cleaned up and dried off. We want that cast to be reset.
Cove winced at the thought.
Okay.
Atta boy.
Mr. Holden casually bent down and plucked Cove. Plucked Cove off up on the ground, ultimately holding Cove against his chest. Sand was already transferring from Cove onto him, but that didn't seem to bother Mr. Holden. Excuse me. Cove protested being carried, but only got a reassuring pat on the back for his trouble. Nice.
Good night, Cove.
Wait, no, you are the one that's
Like talking like this. Yeah, that sounds about right. Good night, Cove. Thanks for the talk, Cliff.
Night, bless Squirtle family, and Shiloh too.
Resigned to his fate, Cove twisted his body in his dad's arm in order to turn around and wave goodbye. Smiling, you waved back. Good night.
Well, we'd better do what we can to fix you guys up too. Come on, everybody inside. I want you to march straight to the downstairs bathroom.
Yes, Mom.
Okay, Lizzie's mom. Don't worry about stop.
Wait, I completely forgot. I think you're mommy. Yeah.
Don't worry about stopping to wipe your feet on the mat this time. That won't do much good tonight.
Sitting on an old beach towel your mommy had found, you waited in the hall. Unless you were less sandy, you weren't allowed to go into your room or walk around the house. But you did get to eat a sandwich for dinner there. It felt like an indoor picnic. It had been decided that Shiloh would wash first and borrow some of your clothes. He was already finished and packed away in his mom's car. Miss Fields had come to collect him a little while ago. It was a bit of a funny experience seeing him without that hat on for once. Lizzie, being much more soaked than you, got to go in the tub next. It wasn't a bubble bath as she had hoped. There was a no fun allowed cleanup session, at least that's what she claimed. Not much longer and it would be your turn. When the bath was done, you'd have to go right to bed. After a day like this, though, you were glad there weren't going to be any further events. Drifting off to sleep sounded like a great idea. Well, that was a long-ass day, but you know what? We get to do another day, another thing. So I think I'll do one more. I think I want to go see some fireflies. That's what I want to do. Ah! Jump scare! Don't scare me like that, Lizzie!
All right, tonight we're going to catch fire.
It'd be funny if this took place immediately after like what happened on the long day. That'd be funny. At this blunt declaration from your sister, you looked up from your macaroni and cheese dinner. Fireflies were a familiar sight over the summer, coming out on warm nights to dance throughout the sky. Tonight was particularly balmy. You knew there were bound to be a ton of them around.
Oh, you are you?
You start to eat faster. Faster. I have to eat faster. Eat faster. A grin curved your lips as you started to eat a bit faster, excited for what was to come. It seemed like you were too excited, however, as you started to choke and cough on your food from shoveling it down so quickly. Mommy reached over to pat you on the back, firmly helping to dislodge the noodles and enabled you to breathe again. You took a big gulp of water from your glass, giving your moms a sheepish look. Oops. Wait, Shiloh, how long have you been in here? You're here too?
That's a good idea, Lizzie. Can Mrs. Blast Squirtle?
Shiloh tapped his fork against the table excitedly, his face lighting up as he looked at Lizzie. It was unusual for Shiloh to still be here. Like, what in God's name are you doing here? Like, even Mom is like, he's been here for 2 days.
I never seen a human being staying in this place for longer than 24 hours. He must be sacrificed.
He was unusual for Shiloh to still be here. Like always, his mom had to bring him over here really early in the morning before her job started. But normally she would have picked him up by now. She called before dinner to let your moms know she's late. You didn't hear why. Probably for more work things. You thought maybe getting to hang out with Shiloh for longer is what made Lizzie want to keep running around outside. Staying at home and watching TV was never an option for her. Excuse me. With guests over, that's why you're pretty sure she'd get your moms to agree.
Well, it's already so dark out there.
Lizzie gave Mom the best puppy dog eyes she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth while you waited there for their response.
Let them go. Nights like this don't happen every day.
Your parents exchanged a look, then Mom eventually sighed and nodded back.
Yes!
That didn't sound very enthusiastic, but trust me, it is very exciting. Along with Lizzie's cheers, you threw your arms up in triumph, but waited until you'd finished chewing it to say anything because you knew it was rude to talk with your mouth full.
Fine. Just make sure you stay on the hill behind our house with all the poppies, okay?
Duh, Mom. That's where most of them are.
The idea had only just been planted in your head, but you already could just picture all the glowing lights spreading around and spreading her out. Oh, God. No. Don't do that! No! Glowing lights spread out in front of you, like the fairies from the bedtime stories Mommy reads sometimes. All too quickly, it became a race to see who would finish their food first.
No choking at the dinner table now.
Her eyes look like she will summon like the depths of hell and beat the shit out of you with it. She also has a nose piercing. I just noticed that. Either that's her nose, her nostril, or a nose piercing. That's cool.
That's right. If someone died, we'd have to cancel the Firefly trip after all.
Mom said it like a joke, but you knew that they were both telling you kids to slow down. Shiloh did immediately. When you glanced at Lizzie, you saw her still eating faster than she should.
Elizabeth?
No one's gonna die. Sheesh.
Famous last words. A knock on the door interrupted Mom before she could no doubt scold your sister.
I'll get it.
Your big sister jumped out of her seat and ran over to the door, pulling it open without even looking out the window to see who it was.
Huh?
You shifted in your seat to try and get a glimpse of the unexpected guest. Is it cold? Ah,
Good evening, Cove.
hey, Cove. It's great to see you again. Your mommy had already walked to the door by the time you managed to see Shilo's hot flop fat. Oh, Cove, hi, you're here. Cove smiled at your enthusiastic greeting, and you hoped Mommy would ask him to stay. Yeah. It didn't matter why he was there. It meant he could join you in all catching fireflies. Then for a few seconds, Cove said nothing. He only stood there and looked up at your mommy with a face almost like he was considering turning around and leaving.
My dad told me to drop this off because I guess he borrowed it from you.
Cove took a familiar screwdriver from out of his large side pockets. Eyes now dropped to the floor.
We left ours back home when we moved.
Great! Thanks! Bye!
Oh, thank you. Here, why don't you come inside for a bit?
Lizzie crossed her arms and lifted her chin. Cove shrugged, and Mom stood from the table too.
I'll give your dad a call to let him know you got here all right.
Yay! Cove shuffled fully inside, eyes remaining on the ground. Mommy closed the doors behind him.
Hi, Cove.
Shiloh gave Cove a friendly smile while waving by holding up his hands and opening and closing his fingers. Cove nodded in response. Cove, are you going to catch some fireflies with us? You could come with us if you wanted to. You could come with us. You can come outside with us if you want to. From the corner of your eye, you could see Lizzie glaring at you for mentioning the excursion to an outsider. Trying not to meet her gaze, you looked at Cove. Whatever Lizzie thought of him, he wasn't exactly a stranger anymore. We're going to go catch some fireflies on the hill about back. He said that with a smile, hoping Cove would want to come.
I can do that. I've never caught one before.
It's too bad he didn't have a chance before now. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in, and there must not have been anywhere he used to live.
We can't go until after dinner.
After she pointed this out, Lizzie walked back to the table and took her seat. There wasn't much left on her plate. Since this was very true, you decided to finish up on your own stuff as well. Cove stepped closer and eyed what was on the menu for your family's meal.
Have you eaten yet?
Yeah, my dad and I ate earlier.
What did you have?
Eggs.
Interesting. The clipped one-word answer seemed to discourage Shiloh from asking any more questions. His eyes slowly wandered back to the last scraps of food on his plate. Her phone call with Cove's dad, must have ended because your mom came back into the room.
Cove, your dad said you could stay on for a little longer if you'd like, but he's going to come to get you before it gets too much later.
Sure.
Oh, fun. This will be so nice.
Maybe I should just give her a Sonic voice, like just a,
Hey, guys. How's it going?
oh, Jesus. Okay. As you polish off the meal, you hoped it would be two. The three of you all finished eating shortly after, and Lizzie led the way outside.
Remember, don't stray too far, or the demons will come out and get you.
It's fine, Mom. There are no such thing as demons out here. It's just me, the devil, and myself. I don't know about the devil part, but it's just us, Mom. Don't worry about it. All right, now let's summon the devil. Okay. Shiloh trailed so closely after Lizzie he was nearly stepping on her heels. Cove hesitated at the door. Coming? After a moment, he did.
Bye, children.
Bye, children.
I won't do that. I would just be cracking up half the time. The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Shiloh by the time you walked outside. You pushed the door shut behind you, watching their figures get farther and farther away.
You're so slow, Homery. We don't have all night.
You started to run when you heard Lizzie's voice calling you, but paused when you saw Cove still walking at a relaxed pace. You waved at him to hurry, you tugged him along. I'll walk with him. You fell behind, sliding up next to him and matching his stride. He noticed right away.
You can go ahead if you want.
You smiled and shaked your head. I don't. After a while, the two of you reached up the hill behind the house. The fireflies were out in full force, floating in the breeze, their gentle glow winking in and out of creating an almost magical effect. Wowzers. Lizzie had already climbed to the top. Shiloh was spinning in circles somewhere around the middle.
Wow.
Shiloh took a moment to come over and welcome the both of you to the hill.
Hey guys, it's really great out, huh? See how many there are?
Yeah.
A firefly danced through the air, landing on Cove's sea green head. Wow. Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. You and Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. You quietly looked on. You quietly looked on. You took a couple of steps back, trying not to spook the little bug as you admired how it glowed so brightly against Cove's hair. Cove raised an eyebrow, giving you a confused look, and Shiloh giggled. You gestured to his head, and he reached up, making the firefly dart away. Cove jumped, then followed after the glow.
Oh,
look, Lizzie has one. Oh, that's amazing.
Shiloh ran to the highest point of the hill, making sure not to lose his hat or backpack along the way. You hummed as the group divided and conquered, shifting your gaze to the dozens of other fireflies sailing around. The game was on. Is this not going to be a mini-game? Okay. You had a bandage on your thumb and you tried to be cautious of that. You had a bandage on your palm, you tried to be cautious of that. You had 2 bandages on your hand and you tried to be cautious of that. You're good at not getting cuts or scratches, so you weren't too worried about that. Let's see. A bandage on my thumb, you tried to be cautious. Let's see. I had a bandage on my thumb. Yeah, I'd be cautious of that. Spotting one close by, you approached it with assassin-like stealth, crouching down to make yourself seem like less of a threat. Slowly dragging one foot in front of the other, you crept up towards it, arms outstretched. You closed your hands around a little glowing orb, careful not to crush it. The firefly landed on your palm, almost docile, and you stared down at your prize in delight. Its tiny legs tickled your skin, and you giggled at the sensation. Cove kept up with his own target, but when he tried to grab it, his pink cascade waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his efforts to clasp his hands around the firefly.
Ah!
Cove watched it vanish into thin air with a dissatisfied expression on his face. You told me you make a joke about you. Let's try it again. You'll get the next one.
Oh, did you catch one?
You nodded, and Cove gave up his hunt for the moment, coming closer and peering at the insect still crawling across your palm. You held out your hand, and he leaned in closer, eyes widening a tad behind his glasses. Cove remained hypnotized by the little bug as he inched his hand closer to yours. Ultimately, he settled his fingers lightly over the top of the ones you were holding open. It tingled. You stayed very still. No, stay very still. The last thing you wanted was to accidentally scare off the shiny treasure off. Wow. The firefly noticed the new connection, crawled up onto Cove's hand. He quietly gasped.
It worked! Whoa! Whose hand is that?
I wonder if number one, I just realized this right now. Those hands look adult, my hand looks like a child's hand or like a very feminine hand, while Cove's hand looks like a full-grown adult. I wonder if this is gonna come back later on in the story. I wonder if that's gonna be the case. So, yeah, you got one. You got my hand! Cove's lips turn up into a slow smile and his eyes shine brighter than the bug.
Thanks, Homery.
With a laugh, he gave the palm of your hand a friendly smack, performing an awkward low 5. Nice. Startled by the extreme movement, the tiny light disappeared before you could even blink. Your firefly was gone.
Oops, sorry.
You forgave him. I forgive him. That's okay. I couldn't keep it forever.
Right, bugs have to stay outside. Let's get another!
You decide to collect more. Yeah, let's collect more. We can work together. His face broke out with a wide grin. More grins! They're all breaking out! Run!
We'll get a bunch!
Wow. Good one, Billy. High five. Self-high five. Psh. With renewed vigor, you ran out into the hill. You're not sure how much time had passed while you're in the thick of it. All you could focus on was the adventure at hand. No critter was safe from your grasp. At first, you tried to keep a tally of how many of you had caught, but once the number grew higher than 10, you had no more fingers left to count with. Is that right? I felt like I read that wrong. But once the numbers grew higher than 10, you had no more fingers left to count with. Yeah, sure, whatever. Alright, you were having the time of your life, racing up and down the hill with the crash of the ocean and the sound of everyone's laughter echoing in the background.
Homery, this way!
You followed the sound of Cove's voice to the top of the hill, watching as he stretched his arms in front of him, reaching with his fingers and only narrowly missing his target. Cove and you took turns trying to scare fireflies in the direction of the other. You showed him some techniques that you had learned, like how to cup your hands correctly, and he listened attentively before trying for himself. There were a few times when you almost ran into each other, giggling as you dove to the side at the last moment. Luckily, disaster was avoided each time. It was an overall huge success with the both of you catching multiple fireflies each. Eventually, the fireflies began to thin out and your energy started to lapse. You decided it was time to call off the hunt. Cove didn't complain. He breathed in heavily and his face seemed really flushed.
That was a lot of fun.
You smiled at him broadly.
Broadly, like a couple pros too. Yeah, that's right.
Broadly, happily that he had enjoyed the activity. Yeah, it was.
Homery, Cove, get up here. We're going to have a race.
The shouting caught you off guard. It had been quite a while since you heard from Lizzie or Shiloh. You glanced over to see them both standing on top of the hill again, Lizzie beckoning to you with quick hand gestures. Yes, that's what I meant to say. If she was like that, you knew there weren't much room for disagreement. Up the incline you went. From the corner of your eye, you saw Cove was coming as well. He didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought he might be intrigued just by the idea of a race.
Hi. You again? Get out of my sight, you.
Hi, Cove. Hi, Cove. You can't roll down the hill. You could hurt your arm again.
Again? What happened the first time?
You'll be the referee for the rest of us.
As Lizzie pointed this out, Cove froze in place. Oh, it was that kind of race. That's mean. He frowned down at his cast. That was the second time. Wait, when was the first time? I don't know what happened the first time. I don't know. That was the second time it got in the way tonight.
What?
Yeah, you'll watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's important. Got it?
I guess.
The cast was sturdy. If he was careful, he could have done it. Lizzie might have just been looking for a reason to make someone else the referee, but it was already decided. I'm gonna stay with Cove. Yeah, I'm gonna stay with Cove.
Really? Why? You don't have to.
It's okay. I want to watch. I've been already running around a lot, and I just kind of want to relax a little bit. You moved beside him on top of the hill, enough though Lizzie eyed you and made a face.
That's not how races work. We only need one referee.
Shrugging your shoulders, you refused to budge, and Lizzie let out a huff before throwing her hands in the air.
Fine, I'll be the winner, whether you join or not.
Lizzie moved to lay down. What an asshole! And Shiloh did the same. Cove stood slightly to the side to get a better vantage point, and you stood next to him.
Countdown!
Cove stood up a little straighter. It seemed like he was taking his newfound referee duties seriously.
3, 2, 1, go!
Lizzie and Shiloh took off, letting gravity do the work and rolling at high speed towards the bottom of the hill. You and Cove leaned forward to watch them go, eyes peeled for which of the two would reach the bottom first. They were both neck and neck, until about halfway down the hill, Lizzie started to veer off to the side, giving Shiloh a huge advantage. She obviously hadn't noticed a thing, and as soon as Shiloh reached the bottom of the hill, he jumped up excitedly and threw his hands in the air.
I
won! Yay!
Almost immediately, he fell back onto the grass, still dizzy from his roll down the hill. Lizzie stomped out of the bush she had ended up in, spluttering angrily and brushing leaves from the front of her dress.
Not bad. You got lucky. Let's do it again and see who wins for real.
Kids, it's time to come in!
No! I'll get you, Shiloh, for this!
You snickered, feeling grateful you had been a part of the mini debacle. You caught Cove's eyes and saw that he was doing the same. It had gotten late, and was beginning to feel just a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hills, but the cold in the air hadn't dampened anyone's spirits. The four of you walked back home together side by side down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening, with each person trying to prove that they were the one who caught the most fireflies. You knew that whoever really did catch the most didn't matter much anyway. All that mattered was that you all had a good time, which, judging by the smiles on everyone's faces, it did. Yay! That was nice. So, I think I might do one more, and then I'll go into the summer. But I'm not going to do that right now, because, it's seeing how it took, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Yeah, it's just about roughly that time. How much time has passed, actually? I could technically do one more, but I think I'm going to stop right now, because, it's been kind of a long day a little bit, and quite literally a long day. But I had dinner with my family. I'm a little full, I'm a little tired, and I didn't have anything to drink yet. I don't know. I might do another recording right after this one. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But next time, I might do one more of these, but I might go straight into the summer. or the ending of the summer. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Because I don't know. I'm kind of doing it on the fly, and this still is an interesting game. I'm curious where it's going to go. So either I do one more of these, try to figure out like what happened the first time you got that brace. Like, is it from the sandcastle? Is it from growing up? Is it from shopping? I don't know. But we'll figure that out. That's for me to know and y'all to find out on the next episode. So, thank you once again. If you like this episode of me playing dating simulators or something like that, or visual novels or whatever, hit the like button. If you want to see more of that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. I played Dream Daddy. I played Coffee Talk. And I'm planning to play more dating simulator games in the future. But not only that, I played other games like Inside, Little Nightmares, bunch of other games that I can't come to mind. All these games are in a playlist that you can find on my channel as well. I also have a Facebook and Twitter page, both called A Raw Battleship. Yes, quite literally, a raw battleship. It's just at a raw battleship. Just keep that in mind. All this information you can find in the description below. And thank you once again for watching this. I'll see y'all next time when we all get to grow up shopping and sandcastles and watching Fireflies all the long day. But let's forget about the library ghost, barbecue, runaway, and sleepover. We never will do that because that will require money! That's really how I'm going to end it.